Hi guys, this is Mr. Shear, and today's lesson is called Intro to Native Tribes of the Pacific Northwest. However, on this video, we're really not talking so much about native tribes. We're mostly talking about how to use Google Slides, and I'll tell you why in just a sec. Oh, that was cool how it flew off the screen there. How do you do that? Oh, that's because he's a nerd. So I'm going to show you how to use Google Slides today. Like I said, though, I know many of you guys already know how to use it. So I just want to give you an overview of what the assignment is. This is a 2-day assignment. You're going to end up with 5 slides total about native tribes of the Pacific Northwest that were here before settlers. I recommend making 3 slides today and 2 tomorrow. I have posted in the Google Classroom a slideshow template that you can use. And you're going to get this information from Chapter 2, Lesson 1 in your book, covering pages 36 through 42. This will replace our worksheet for this lesson. So I'm mostly going to just go over Google Slides in the rest of this video. You can get tribal information at our meet, where I'll talk individually about 2 of these tribes today, or you can get it from the book. I just want to give you a quick overview. There is not a limitless number of tribes in Washington. There are 29 tribes in Washington state. So currently there are 29 recognized tribes or nations in Washington state. I really want you to know that. Makes it a tangible number. There's 29. I'm going to ask you that multiple times. Most of these tribes and their reservations were established. Most of the reservations for these tribes were established in the 1850s, most of them in 1855 specifically. And just to point something out, a nation versus a tribe, you'll notice there's Yakama Nation versus like the Tulalip tribe. If you're a nation, what that means, we'll talk about this later in the chapter, but what that means is you are many tribes that got put onto one reservation. So the Tulalip tribe was a singular tribe before settlers, whereas the Yakama Nation is many tribes that got put together onto a reservation. All tribes are different. This is the Makah tribal symbol. Each tribe has its own symbol, so if you're looking for something to put in your slideshow, you can always look up Makah tribal symbol, and you'll find something cool. Okay, I'm going to jump into the template that I've given you guys. This template that is posted in your Google Classroom, there's one made for each of you, is 5 slides already. There's a title page with some instructions, and then each slide looks similar, but what you'll notice is each slide talks about one particular tribal group. So the first slide is the Makah. The second slide is the Salish, the third is the Chinook, and the fourth is the Plateau people. This information can be found in Chapter 2, Lesson 1 of your book. So Chapter 2, Lesson 1 starts on page 36. And you'll notice here the coastal people, the Salish, the Chinook, the Makah, and the Plateau people. Right, so all 4 groups are covered in your book. What you need to do is you need to start with a title slide. My title slide looks like this. And all you have to do is 2 things. All of this says 2 things. You need to title your presentation. One title I've suggested, you can use this or you can make your own, is Natives of the Pacific Northwest. The second thing you need to do is you need to upload a background picture for this slide. So let's start with the title. I'm going to click on the text box. And you can start by deleting all of this here. You can read it first, then delete it. I'm going to pause my video while I do this, just for the sake of time. Okay, so I've named this Native Tribes of the Pacific Northwest. Now, if I think that's too big of a title, I can always select the words, and then up here, these are all of your text modifications. You can bold it, underline it, etc. You guys should know this from Google Docs. Change the font to a more reasonable font. Let's try 36. And you can click on the font here to change into something that you prefer. and I think you guys know most of that. If you want to highlight the background text color, make sure that you're on these, see these 4 arrows? Make sure you're on the 4 arrows versus being on the writing. Click on highlight color and you can pick and it will highlight it, and it'll look then when you click on it like that, and give it a little framing if you so choose. All right, next I need to upload a background picture, so I'm going to click on background and I'm going to go to choose image. In order to do this, you will have already had to have Googled images that you want to use in your slideshow. So again, you can't upload something that doesn't exist, so you'll have to Google some images. You can Google native tribes of the Pacific Northwest, something tribal to do with Washington, and then you go to choose image, upload, browse, and I'm going to pick this one that I used in my other video, other slideshow. Cool. If I don't like where my font is, I make sure that I'm on those 4 arrows, and I can just move it up. I don't like how it covers his face. You can play around with that by changing the dimensions of the box. It'll change how it looks. You can play around with this, but try to make it neat. Try to make it frame so it's not blocking somebody's face, etc. Try to make it nice. I'm going to pause my video while I play around with that. Great, I got the title and the background pick. My page is now done, but I don't like the black writing, so I'm going to select all. I'm going to click here on the color, and I'm going to change it to white. I always think white looks really nice on an image. Now let's say I want to have this come in later when I present it. So I want it to start with an image, and then I want the title to show up. So make sure you selected the text box in this case. And now we're going to go into Insert and Animation. And it defaults into having it fade in when you click your cursor if you were presenting. So I'm going to click on Fade In, and I'm going to have it fly in from the left. I can play it to check and see what that would look like. Yep, great. Hit stop, and we're all set. We're going to jump next to the second slide. Okay, on the second slide, you'll notice all of these slides have a very similar look. It's got the title of the tribe that you're talking about, and then you have to fill in these 4 things: language, region, structure, and culture, which you will find in your textbook. So I'm on the Makah in a section on your textbook. So you find the answers to that, what language they spoke, what they lived in. You can see it highlighted here, longhouses, something about their culture, and something about the region where they lived. I'm going to pause my video, I'm going to fill this out, and then we'll talk about images. Okay, so this is all relevant. The language the Makah spoke was called Makah. The region that they live is Neah Bay. They lived in longhouses. And then for culture, I put the Makah or whale hunters. The split, they should say they split. Tribal leadership in the councils instead of one large group. One specific leader is what I meant. They use cedar. You can do better than that. Something like that. Once I have that done, I need to do some images. So I'm going to go ahead and select this image, which is just a placeholder. I'm going to delete it. And then you want to click on this little mountain icon. Again, you will have needed to have found some images on the web and save them probably to your desktop. Go to Upload from Computer. And I'm going to pick this image of the Makah hunting whales. There you go. And again, if you want it to fly in when you're presenting, you go to Add Animation and you can decide, flying from the top, how you want that to happen. Cool. All right. Last few things about slideshow. Again, you'll have to Google image. I would just Google native tribes of the Pacific Northwest. I would Google Makah, the Salish, the Chinook, and the Plateau people of the Northwest. If you're having a hard time finding the Plateau people, they live, some of them did, in teepees. And as I say in my instructions, you can always just look up a singular word. If you're having a hard time remembering all these requirements, also posted in your Google Classroom is this requirement sheet that walks you through it. All right. Last things last. If you come today to our Google Meet, I'm going to go over 2 of the tribes. Today I'm going to go over the Makah and the Coast Salish, and then tomorrow I'll go over the Chinook and the Plateau people. So I'll give you some information on the tribes. If you don't want to come to the Google Meet or can't make the Google Meet, you can always get the information from the textbook. And as always, please email me with questions, and I will help you. And if you need more help on Google Slides, again, email me. I'll be able to help you. Thanks for watching, guys.